Hello class, it is a cloudy Friday and my baby and I think we were in the mood for some cookies. So I invited my sister Rachel over to help me with the cookies because I'm kind of full-handed.
Give this over to you. Hello everyone, we're gonna make some cookies today. Alright, so here I have some cookie ingredients. I have some prepackaged cookie mix, very modern, a stick of butter, and of course, an egg.
Come here, Charlie! Rachel! Charlie! What? Oh, Charlie, get off of that. Rachel, what did you do?
I'm just trying to help you with your class. Don't you think you're overreacting? So, since this is a whole section on endothermic and exothermic reactions, I thought it'd be appropriate.
Let's get back to those cookies. I'll clean that up later.
Charlie will help you with that.
Oh, Charlie. Well, let's get back to those cookies. What is an endothermic reaction?
Well, that would depend on a chemical reaction. Well, we've got lots of different kinds of reactions, but chemical reactions in science are when you put ingredients together and you get something different out than what you put in. What happened? A chemical reaction. And there's two kinds of chemical reactions. We have an endothermic reaction and an exothermic reaction.
Okay, so how does that relate to us baking?
Well, cooking is a good example of an endothermic reaction. I have some ingredients here, and what I can do is I can put all my ingredients together into this big cookie dough mess, and then I can change the shape of my ingredients, but they're still my ingredients. And no matter how long I wait here watching them, nothing's going to happen.
Did you know that cookie dough is tasty and that you're not advised to eat it due to that raw egg inside it?
This is science.
Got it.
Okay, so what happens is I've got all my ingredients here, and nothing's going to happen until I provide some source of heat. This is an example of an endothermic reaction.
How hot is that oven?
375. That's a lot of heat.
Okay.
Degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so there's your endothermic reaction. You add heat.
And it gives us something tasty.
Something different than what we put in. I'm not going to eat this stick of butter.
All right, so what then, if that's an endothermic reaction, what's an example of an exothermic reaction?
Exothermic reaction? Well, let me give you an example of an exothermic reaction.
Oh! Rachel! Today is not the day for breaking things, whether
but I'm not here to help you with cookies. I'm here to help you demonstrate for your class. That's going to be a good example for an exothermic reaction.
I don't think hitting your foot is an example of an exothermic reaction, scientist.
Well, not that, but I have a conveniently located heat compress. That's an example of an exothermic.
Knew you were going to hit your foot.
What we do for science. Alright, so this heat compress is a good example of an exothermic reaction. What I have in here is two different kinds of chemicals, and I can mix them together, and all I have to do is wait, and this reaction will produce heat and an inconvenient byproduct. Okay, so maybe let me show you an example of this I set up earlier. Okay, so here's maybe what's happening inside this heat compress. I have two different chemicals, and what I can do, all I have to do is just mix them together, and I get this very convenient byproduct, but I also get heat from the reaction there.
That's how a heat compress works.
Yes, and that's going to be very convenient. Here, let me take that camera from you real quick while I fix it.
Alright, well, while we're waiting for our cookies to bake, here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to turn to our textbook. I want you to go to page 269 and read the portion called A Familiar Example. It talks about the process of photosynthesis. We've talked about this in class before. As a recap, photosynthesis is the process by which plants take sunlight and convert it into a form of energy, usually glucose. I want you to read that part, including the formula on photosynthesis, and determine whether photosynthesis is an endothermic reaction or an exothermic reaction.
What was that little frustration thing there?
I can never remember my science when I need to. I want you to look at the portion and tell me what type of reaction is the process of photosynthesis. I'll give you a couple minutes to do that while we're waiting for our delicious cookies to finish their endothermic reaction process.
I'm going to work on my exothermic reaction process, that's for sure.
You might want to get some heat on that.
Yeah. Oh, that's the cookie timer.
Before we get started back with those cookies, though, let's take one more look at our familiar example using photosynthesis. In case you didn't already figure it out, photosynthesis is an endothermic reaction. And why is that? When you take the formula for photosynthesis, one thing that's not present in the formula is sunlight. And sunlight is the heat that we need in order to have that process take place. It's the added heat that makes this an endothermic reaction. Now, speaking of endothermic reactions, what about those cookies? I think they're ready.
I think they're almost ready. Let me get them out. Where'd my pot holder go? Oh, come on. My pot holder's gone. This is science. Ta-da. All right, let's see. Oh, a little crispy, but still good.
So that's just a lot different from our cookie dough balls. So again, one more time, endothermic reactions take ingredients and apply heat in order to create something new. What about the exothermic reaction? Rachel, can you give us a recap for exothermic reactions?
Exothermic reactions, you take ingredients and just simply put them together, and the process of putting them together creates heat. So endothermic, you have to put the heat in. Exothermic, the heat will be a product out.
Makes sense, just like with our heat compress there.
Mm-hmm. Very useful.
Are you ready to eat the product of our endothermic reaction?
I think I am, except I don't think they are. So let's see. Here we go.
They look pretty good.
We have some mechanical cookie fracturing going on here. Ah, there we are.
All right, well, I'd say
Just
this
right
is
fine.
probably the tastiest endothermic reaction I've ever seen.
I don't know about you, but it's the most painful exothermic reaction I've ever had.
Well, thanks for coming over. Thanks for helping me with these cookies. And
You're
thanks
welcome.
for helping explain about endo and exothermic reactions.
Very welcome. You should do this again.
I agree.